following on from my last video about the place of spirituality in society, I wanted to share a little bit about my own path towards embracing of the spiritual element inside of myself, because growing up and through my sort of early adolescence and early adulthood, I wasn't very in touch with it. In fact, it was very shut off. I was absolutely anti pretty much every religion. I didn't have any place for them at all. And it wasn't until everything sort of started to come undone when I was 20, 21-ish, and a bunch of my friends started dying. So a couple in motor vehicle accidents. My housemate then killed himself. A number of people I knew were then killed overseas in combat, and it just snowballed from there. And then throughout the rest of my 20s, it was just a period of death, of people dying all over the place, where I was going to multiple funerals a year of people that I cared very deeply for, and trying to rationalize it or make some sort of meaning from what was going on, trying to understand all of it instead of just being hurt and crushed and sad. And it reached a sort of crescendo where after just multiple of these deaths, I was struggling so hard with my own will to live. I didn't have a desire to die, but I just didn't have this spark of life that people generally have, where if you ask somebody if they want to live, people typically reflexively say yes. I didn't have this. If you had have asked me at that point, I would have been totally indifferent. And it was manifesting in all sorts of strange ways, where it felt like my subconscious was trying to kill me by creating a variety of circumstances that would take the decision out of my hands. And through this grasping of straws, trying to dig myself out of this hole, pulling on any thread that I could, trying to find some sort of understanding or meaning or way to continue forward. And this was ever present, was this desire to just keep pushing forward no matter what. I tried all sorts of things, whether it be meditation or plant medicines, or right at the beginning when I had no idea, I was just drinking heavily, partying heavily, a lot of drugs. It was just incessant, just a cry for help, no real way of understanding or dealing with these complex emotions that arise from these sort of things. And it sort of turned a corner. It's about 10 years in, towards the end of my 20s, when I realized that there had to be more to it, that this wasn't working, that I couldn't just rationalize my way out of this with any sort of sense of logic. And it was there that I had a few different glimpses into things. There was some sort of spirituality. And eventually I found that it was only through acceptance of a lot of the spiritual elements of my life I started to come to terms with everything and started to accept a lot of what had happened. That through continued development of the spiritual element of myself, I not only found that I could be okay and just not sad all the time, but that I could once again be happy, that I could be better than I ever was before, that I could incorporate a lot of the lessons, that I could then provide these sort of harbor for others around me to come to and to be safe with, and to express how they were feeling, that I could hold these conversations with people that would otherwise make a lot of people uncomfortable, that I could use a lot of these experiences for the betterment of people around me. And it was through those conversations that I had this dawning realization that so many people around me were just lost and spiritually adrift, that they had no harbor, no anchor, nowhere to go, no framework to deal with any of these emotions or any of these experiences that just come up through life and through living of life. They're all bound to happen, and everyone's bound to experience them. But the ability to reconcile them, and also to not just bury them deep underneath, is something that I found was only possible through acceptance of the spiritual element of myself, that I could cherish and not just get through the experience and not just survive it, but I could incorporate the experiences and incorporate the lives of those that I loved around me into my own being, that I could carry their lives forward in myself, and that I could then take those lessons and take those lessons from those experiences and better the world around me, or better my relationships around me. And this is where this idea, I sort of, as I continued to look around and just saw the total absence of spiritual nourishment in those around me, that I came to the ideas that I alluded to and spoke about in the first video. Thanks guys, have a good one.